Yeah, hello and welcome to another edition of Hot Seat right here on Ogun State Television at the People's Telly. I am Moses or Jewumi, and on this week's edition, we'll be bringing a searchlight on the sports sector, particularly cricket. And if you've been following sports, you'll notice that cricket in Nigeria has received a touch of revival in recent years. We have the number, if I could say, the number one cricketer in the country, the president, Nigerian Cricket Federation, here on the show. And not only that, he's also the immediate past country's senior partner, PWC Nigeria, Mr. Uyi Akpata. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. But just, I'm not the number one cricketer before your viewers think, how come this guy can play cricket with his frame? But I'm really glad to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's quickly get to his profile because there's a lot to Mr. Uyi Akpata apart from cricket administration in Nigeria. Let's get to see all that. And when we come back, of course, we'll hit the interview segment of the show. Stay with us. Yeah, that was the profile of my guest today, Mr. Uyi, Akpata, and of course you've seen it all. Glad to have you on the show, once again. Now, you're in the sports sector, coming from PWC, a firm known for transparency, audit intensity. We say PwC is among the top 4, globally. And now in the sports world, how do you reconcile the bureaucratic and the slow-moving world, of sports?
Well, I think things are they're both aligned. I will take you on a journey background. I'm in school, like most of us. Those days we played cricket. I was actually being involved in cricket. And in some of those life lessons around the cricket pitch, collaboration, teamwork, integrity, those are the things that positioned me for what was later, thank God, a successful 40-year career in PwC. So then working in PwC, about 10 years ago, I took this decision to say, okay, what can I give back as an individual? And then what can cricket do in terms of supporting? So it's bringing all those things from the professional point of view to sports administration and indeed cricket. So there can't be any difference. So you only get to do work or improve in your cricket administration if you apply those best practice that any reasonable organization should have.
Okay, but now in the federation, cricket is not like football or basketball. The funding may be a challenge. Perhaps you have to lobby, then try and know how to partner or get funds from the Ministry of Sports, now National Sports Commission. So how's that actually?
So you need to be deliberate in terms of what you're doing. I think when we came on board first, my predecessor and Professor Yahaya is a surgeon in ABU. We wanted to set up a robust governance structure that underpins everything. If you don't get that right, you alluded to that earlier. If you don't get that governance structure right, every other thing just falls to the ground. So we had 5 strategic imperatives. We want to set up that governance structure. We want to have partnerships with the media, partnerships with governments, partnerships with potential sponsors, and partnerships with alumni associations and others. So for us, I personally don't believe you should go, government cannot fund it alone, let me just put it that way, but they need to provide enabling environment. I'll give a typical example now. Ogun State, for this sports festival, has been provided cricket with 2 grounds at the MKO Abiola Stadium. There are very few countries in Africa that can give you that opportunity. So it's left for any reasonable administration, such as we have partnerships with others, to now develop it in line with international standards. You can get to banks who will like, or other organizations who will brand the place because it's now a more modern facility and attract international tournaments here. So we need to be selling or giving a value proposition. That's what cricket has been doing, building that value proposition to now be able to attract partners. And we've done that successfully because our funding in the last 4 years have sort of increased 4-fold because of that transparency, robust governance structure that people trust, and also opening up the game for the game to be more attractive.
But nationally, is the environment enabling enough?
Super enabling. Right from the past administration, when it comes to sports, then now the National Sports Commission, my interactions with the DG and the chairman have shown that policy is very important. And support, there's something now, I mean, it's not been publicly announced, so I don't want to say it, but there's a quite direct interaction where, together with the Sports Commission, a framework will be established to be able to make federations more commercially viable. That's the key. That's more sustainable than maybe, I mean, obviously, government supports. So we at the last Africa Games last year, government funded that trip because it's directly on the Olympics. Government supports national sports festivals. I mean, the kinds of monies that go into those ones. So government plays its roles at the right time. But I think every association needs to build a brand that can present itself to stakeholders, even governments, so that you get the right funding. That's what cricket, the board and I and key stakeholders is about.
Yeah. But now, Mr. Akpata, going down memory lane, I could say, wow, cricket has always been there. I attended Government College Ibadan, and while in school, we had that there was a point that, I mean, the students were so drawn to cricket. I mean, I didn't play cricket while in school. We didn't have that opportunity. And I know the same thing with King's College. Even though the environment has changed, students are now advised, are being trained to play, cricket. So, but where did we lose it? At what point? If you say, okay, this sport was traditional to us, it was in many secondary schools, back then. But right now, you could see that you are now trying to revive, cricket again. So at one point, did we lose it? Then
I don't want to look back to see what point we lost it. But when you get like-minded individuals who truly have benefited from the game coming to give back, then you know that we're in the right direction. And once you have the right leadership and framework, let me tell you for free now, go to GCI. In the next 2 years, we have an international top wickets because the old students have seen what we are doing elsewhere. Unilag has a top wicket that did not exist when the game was thriving 40 years ago when I was there. We played an under-19 championship there recently. It wasn't government. It was the university working with the alumni. So GCI is going to have the same thing. That's what we are building across the country. So it's not just about me, but creating that platform and trust, government giving us the enabling environment. That's how we should go. So that's why it's an exciting journey for us that's happening. We've been having the discussions with Ogun State Cricket Association to see how we can do that. And I hope the seat will not be too hot when I come in 2 years' time when we'll be discussing the achievements of what we've just started on the back of this sports festival when it comes to cricket.
Okay.
So for me, it's exciting times ahead. We can look back like Nigeria, you talk about things that have happened and are not happened, but those are just excuses. Don't just look back. Let's see how we can think about the past where there's been successes, where there's been mistakes, identify those mistakes, see how you can eliminate them and move forward. And I'm glad that cricket has seen one or two other sports are moving in this direction.
Well, though, I mean, we still have to, we have to explore, the past, then evaluate the present,
agree with you, but as long as you learn from it.
So as not to make the same mistakes.
You pick from that the reason why it's failed is that probably there's been not the right leadership. If you want a direct answer to your question.
Okay.
So that's the answer to that. There's not been the best leadership in the respective areas.
But okay, having the right leadership not even be your hands. You are doing your own right now in your tenure. Then one day someone will succeed you.
Yes.
So how hobbits, can we be that okay? Whoever succeeds you will also continue from. There will be continuity, at that point. How hobbit are you? Because basketball, for instance, just last week I was talking to Sam Amedu, the president of FIBA, Zone B, and he told me how, of course, we all know how leadership torso, has lowered the bar, from basketball. Are you sure this won't happen to cricket? Because this game is just, receiving some revival and all of that.
No, there are many things like in any organization. That's why I said I come from the private sector. I spent over 40 years there. So first and foremost, you must put best practice in terms of what you are doing. You are saying a lot about cricket and what's happening. If at the end of my tenure, I've not been able to create a sustainable structure and hopefully a succession plan for a reasonably younger generation to drive the game, then I would have failed. Everything would have just been. People will have their individual ambitions, as long as it's not hostile, in terms of saying, I can do things better. But let everyone always be aligned that it's for the common purpose of improving cricket and ultimately in the best interest of Nigeria. That's just my undertaking. But as a leader, I have it on the plans, already thinking 4 years ahead, 5 years ahead, or 10 years ahead, or even when I'm like, how would cricket in Nigeria be? And there are stakeholders. That's why I say with our building blocks, it's not just about me. That's where the excitement is. Some of the young, talented players who came in for 14 days and had exceptional time here. We always talk about Ogun State 2025. So in 25, 30 years time, even if it's 2 or 3 of them that come out, they want to recreate or continue to enhance of what's happening. That's what this is all about.
Okay. Now, given the historic outing at the 2025 ICC Under-19 Women's T20 World Cup in Malaysia, I think also had a fine outing in 2019. Yes. Those girls are basically women. Those girls, have you ensured their proper progression, into the senior national team? Talking about 2019, because it's now 6 years. Are they still, playing cricket? Have you been able to nurture them?
First, 2019 was the boys who qualified.
2019 was
the boys. So the boys.
The boys are now men.
9 or 10 of them are members of the national team, the current national team, because that's them. Then for the girls, believe it or not, 6 or 7 of them were already playing for the national team before we went to Malaysia. It's a structure we've established for the past 7 years. So most of those girls, Lucky Piety, Peculiar Agboya, Victory Igbinedion, Lillian Ude, those girls, I've known them from about 11 because of our program. You go to schools, identify the talents, put them in a hub where they can train. Then by the time they are 15, partnership with government, they go for the National Youth Games. You recreate a story around them where coaches are talking to them. Then you go for, that's where PwC came in. It's a pathway. We're now going to the PwC Under-17 Championships and now pick some of these girls. PwC Under-17 Championships is zonals. Then the zones go together to create their team. Again, collaboration in the process. Then they now go to the national finals. Those were where you picked up the girls. And guess what? We found out about 3 or 4 years ago that some of these young girls who were coming through were as good as some of the older established players, which unfortunately did not have this robust training pathway. So all of them, 8 or 9 of them, are in that team. Now, from the last PWC Under-17 Championships in January, we've identified about 20 talented people who will go to that hub and join the 5 or so who are going to be still eligible from the last Under-19, who will form the core of that team. Whereas now, we are going to, the female team, they are going to Kwibuka in Rwanda to play a tournament, the normal tournament. 9 of the Under-19 girls are in the senior team. The answer to that question. But my biggest challenge, our biggest challenge is the answer. Nigeria came 6th, the Under-19 World Cup. You're going to see that the same ladies they played with in Malaysia will be going into robust programs identified for them specifically. That if we don't play catch up, because we are not in that same high standards, then you will see that's where you see that gulf of performance, etc. So that's our biggest challenge. How do we get some of these girls during our own summer break, which is rainy season where we can't play, put them in programs in South Africa, the UK, Zimbabwe, over their summer break, because all of them are in school, by the way. The 19 girls, you must go to school. That's a criteria for us. Most of them, they've just read their GC, okay, the GC, their exams, before then 1 or 2 just first year in university. So it's a whole lot, because it's not just the your field plate. So it's a whole lot of program. So the whole ecosystem is working. So those are the kind of programs. So we now have specific high performance program where you can transit into the national team. But more importantly, how can we remain competitive?
Yeah. So, for these girls, I say, some of them are writing exams, some of them are in schools already, and not every school, has, cricket infrastructure, or facilities. Yeah. So how do they keep the fire, burning, at that level? Because when you come to Africa, I know South Africa is doing well. Yeah. Arguably the best, country when it comes to cricket in Africa. And then we have Namibia. So, these countries, when you see their players, they are professional to the core. That's all they do. There are facilities, everywhere. At least in terms of facilities, I think these countries are better. Maybe Zimbabwe too, than Nigeria. Yes. So how do you ensure that the passion, continues, for these girls?
Yes, it's very important for the girls and the boys. When we were, funny enough, when we've been in Malaysia, and a few people have asked me, says, how have you done it in Nigeria? That's why I say you must work within your resources and take advantage of what you do. We have a high performance center in Benin dedicated to girls at Iyoba Secondary School. That's where the girls have been for now. So when they're there, you play against the under-17 boys, play against the under-19 boys. And because we now have tough wickets, 6-7 years ago, we didn't have tough wickets. So we had to go, you want to go for a tournament, you go and spend 2 weeks acclimatizing on tough wickets. You're not playing it all year round. We now have 7 in the country. The discussions we're having with Ogun State Cricket Association is to turn the main pitch to tough wickets within the next playing season. Okay. So we need to take advantage of that, and because the rains are starting, because if you miss the rains, then you miss the season. But on a broader scale, the Nigerian Cricket Association, the Nigerian Cricket Federation has decided to be doing 1 tough wickets in each of the geopolitical zones every year. The hubs have already been created. By the way, it's just the whole excitement. Children's Day, NCR had a particular partnership where 18 states of the Federation introduced modified game of cricket across, where you can play anywhere, anytime. That's where the modified game is. Then you transit into the regular hard play. So we want to create a hub where you can have at least a hub. everyone who wants to play within the vicinity of Ogun State at a particular time on a monthly basis, we head to MKO Abiola International Stadium. Those who want to play in Edo State, we go. Akwa Ibom State, there's a center. Kaduna, we're supporting them. We want to go to University of Nigeria in partnership with Unsuka, in partnership with the alumni. Unilag is there. So all around the country, you will have this performance. Then there are what we call indoor facilities. For the first time, private sector driven in some, again, former cricketers, 5 of them came together working with the NCF and had a standard indoor facility. That's not available in Kenya that's been playing cricket for 30 years. It's not available in Tanzania. Only available maybe in Zimbabwe and South Africa. But we did that here because of the importance. You know, Nigerians, they say, when we take on something, you don't stop us. And that's the spirit. And when people, you see, I'm overwhelmed when people are just coming to say, hey, you guys are doing a great job. We want to be part of it. There's more of that happening than 7 years ago. That's my excitement.
Okay, Mr. Akpata, I still feel we have a long way to go.
Certainly.
About in terms of endearing fans, to cricket, because when Nigerians do not even understand the game, so if they don't understand, why would they come to watch? Why would they pay, to watch? Because that's where the money is. Something I've also noticed is we have cricket facilities in early schools. Talk about Government College Ibadan, King's College. What about those schools at the grassroots? What about those rural schools? What are you doing in that regard? And also officials. Do we even have enough officials? Are you developing enough of them? Because when you have these facilities, officials also must be there to teach them, to groom them. The PhD teachers, do they even know cricket?
Very good question. When you talk about, I don't want to discriminate among schools and everything, but the traditional elite schools, High Performance Center in Benin is at a school formerly called Adono College, Edo Boys High School. Ioba Girls, where we have the other High Performance Center, is not what you want to describe as elite schools in the past. And the rest. And wherever some of these places are, it's because of where we have partnerships. Just the principal and the ministry saying this is the base where we have grounds and everything. That is the only discrimination where you have grounds, not where, if not, you would have seen that some of these things, based on today's standards, they should have been in private colleges or university. Based on current trends. So that's not the case. So the cricket is where we can get more people, interest, and the right partners, whether it's the principals and the schools and everybody. That is very critical to us. We formed a whole ecosystem for this. We have over 120 recognized umpires in the country with their own associations. I'm very proud of that. They run programs. Across each state has chapters. Last year, September, the Coaches Association, Cricket Coaches of Association, set up their own body. They have over 120 of them. The NCF itself went on a program to recruit what we call development and field officers for states. So what we do, we have a development officer for Ogun State working together with the state's team. We are paying them, but say, go and supervise. So in the last 2 or 3 years, we've recruited close to 60 technical people with our own funds or ICC funding, driving this, because that's the important. So each of those development officers, we work with the states to go to schools and run programs for volunteers, teachers, PE teachers, and rest. Yes, you are right. It's not that popular. So one of our broad objectives is to make cricket one of the top 3 recognized sports in Nigeria. So
top 3?
In
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
We have football. Football is not ready to really.
No, that's why I said top 3. We
have basketball, as second position.
Yes.
But maybe athletics. Nigerians love athletics.
Yes.
I don't think athletics is ready to push that position.
Yes.
So when you said top 3, and I'm looking like, wow, how will you get there? Because I know the other federations of, sport that are not popular also trying to endear their sport to Nigerians. Rugby is there, tennis. Well, tennis is popular, but may not command the kind of popularity football, basketball, athletics, have in Nigeria. So how will you do that? How many years?
Go back and tell me research which team, which sports in the country today can tell you they are reaching out to 250,000 kids every year and each person's name is documented. Then we'll have these conversations. We still have a long way to do, no doubt. And we will do it. Top 3 is top 10. So, again, let me be where my warrior and Benin roots. Okay. We know we are power rich. That's why we say we won't be a top 3. If not that number 1, we go for. So it's there. It's there, it's happening. How do you do it? Go to schools. These are the things we are saying. People will partner. Why do you think I came here? Come, meeting you now, we'll get 1 million viewers through GTB. The whole of Ogun State will now know about cricket. Because that's what I know. That's why so it's partnerships with different people. But they have to find it exciting. That's why you find that Children's Day, we did that. Next year, we go with partners. Just imagine how many, where we say, every Children's Day in the 36 states and FCT, we are having a program where about 1,000 kids are coming out to just play cricket, have fun and games and everything. Those are the kind of things that will make it popular. Go to Zamfara State now. We're already top 3, by the way, in certain areas. It's just broadly, you don't know it. Females, 20,000 girls are playing cricket every year in Zamfara State. They came for these games, by the way. Zamfara and Gombe, female. Gombe just missed out on medals. Could you have heard about it 8 years ago? No. That's why everybody's doing. Have I been to Gombe State? I've not been to Zamfara. They're doing that because we've created a platform. And government and everyone is keen in. So I'm almost going to tempt it to because I don't have any real information. Now I've not done research. Going back to my PwC days. So I want facts. But we're arguably one of the best organized sports now in the country. Football has been established so people can play on the streets anytime and all the same way it happens, cricket happens in India. That's where we want to get to, where Pakistan. We now say Pakistan, that's where we want to get to. That's where you have this softball and Creole, play cricket everywhere, every time. ICC has introduced that. That's what we want to do. So you don't need a major pitch. You go elsewhere, you go to any of those schools, you are seeing people just playing out. And it's happening in many schools. When I was in the old Bendel State, the whole of the old Bendel states, then there were only 4 or 5 elite schools playing cricket. Now, Delta and Edo has over 60 schools playing cricket.
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful that you are in schools. Yes. But I know one thing that sustains sports,
yes.
is league. In football,
yes.
for instance,
yeah.
There's a league, so there are many footballers year in, year out. Once one footballer quits, and the others come in and all of that. They have the top tier, they have the second tier, they have the fourth tier. What about that? Do we have that in cricket? I've not heard of a league. If there's no league, so what are you doing in that regard? When will the league come up?
Thank you very much. Again, that's a good point. That's why we say we have sub-national leagues. The CCC League is just holding its club cricket committee in Lagos. There are 19 teams, by the way, on that league. And many people come across the country. There are about 10 Ogun State players who go and represent different teams in the CCC League. So there are 19 teams, and it takes place from October to March of every year. There's a Edo State Cricket League where most people in the South come in. So we want to enhance that regional league structure so that you are getting a lot of interest. But more importantly, as you say, the way it works, we want to have a Nigeria Super League.
Yeah.
The Nigerian Super League is just for elites. But the aim, like you have the Indian IPL, that's IPL.
Yeah, yes.
Is to get 6 teams of the top players, where it's just the same model. There will be a mix of the really top players, most of who showcase themselves in the last 14 days here. Each team will be allowed 2 foreign players. Each team must have under 17 or under 19 players in its roster and rest of it. So hopefully, fingers crossed, talking with one or two potential sponsor or broadcasters, that should come up later this year. So that's the elite league. But you are very right. Then you have the scattered regional leagues.
Okay.
But some of our other flagship events, apart from the National Sports Festival, is our national championships, which is also what's the name? It's that's our own run event. So the national championships also take place.
Okay. So how should this come up? Is there a timeline?
No, as I said, the national.
The National Super League.
That's what I'm saying, hopefully fingers, but we want to start reasonably well. We're talking to 3 potential broadcasts. I mean, again, it's foreign people. So there are people who are actually showing interest here and say people want to know about Nigeria. And again, whether it's from the bet companies to all the other people who want to see. We have a brand. Ironically, we are more valued out there than even our internal commercial partners, as it were. Everything hinges around big money these days, which comes from the bet companies, as long as it's done ethically. So it's a robust process of due diligence to see who our potential partners are and getting sustainable structure. So in the next month or so, we'll probably be able to announce the dates, but we want to kick that off this year because it's part of our plans. And I would not want to see that move to next year.
Yeah, Mr. Akpata, now let's talk about sports economy. Something I know is when the economy is not buoyant, sports suffers. And currently, the Nigerian economy is still, the president is trying to revive things and all of that. We know the disparity between naira and dollars, and some of these things we need in terms of facilities, they are even imported. And even football, as number one sport in Nigeria, is also suffering, somewhat. So, apart from Super Eagles, that are quite marketable, we know brands fall upon themselves to sponsor, to invest and all of that. But when you talk about the NPFL, this story is definitely not the same. So, where the title sponsors are not. So, how will you now ensure? So, if football is struggling to attract, sponsors, and how will cricket, do that? We've seen multinational companies leave Nigeria. The ones that are here, they are complaining, cost of, because we know that at times some of them will do it from CSR, corporate social responsibility. So, you talked about PwC. Well, you are the former country senior partner. Maybe in that way it was easy for you to get them to partner. So how will you get enough partners for this league? Because these players must be well paid, for them to stay in cricket. So I'm just thinking aloud. How will you do that, Mr. Akpata?
Meanwhile, I mean, you're like a lawyer, and you ask a question in the face of the difficult economy. The economy is not doing well. So if I answer your question, hope I'm not going to be agreeing with you that the economy is not doing well. So this is not subject for economics because there are different areas that are doing well and the rest of it at the macro level are one of them. There's no more disparity in terms of the exchange rates again. In some cases, it can be beneficial if you get dollars sponsorships and you're able to pay local currencies and the rest in terms of enhanced things. And so let's not go into that. But I think competition for resources, scarce resources remains very important. How do you get sponsors? As I said, we've increased our funding fourfold, whether it's from ICC or from local sponsors. Yes, it's easy to move from 1 to 3 than from 10 to 40 or something like that. But it's all about value proposition. I go and meet UAC, so they say, we have these Children's Day events every year. We are going to have partnerships because it aligns with what they are doing. Defining, identifying the value proposition that will keep you ahead. It's always going to be scarce. Some people are attracting the monies now. It's not easy. If it's easy, it will just be picked up. So it means that we need to go back and see how we can do it. We're discussing with 1 or 2 people. In this Super League, we're talking about 1 or 2 banks. I'm not going to name them now because they see the value. Especially those who may want to be having regional or sub-Saharan expansion, because that's what it will portray. So we don't just go out and say we're looking for money. That will not work. Would I want money? Yes. But you need to, people, commercial partners, it will tie with their various objectives. So you now go and meet those people and say, okay, how do we work together? And there are many people now, at least the odds are now in our favor, especially after the under-19 girls performed very well.
Yeah, because some brands will want to know, okay, what kind of crowd can cricket pull in Nigeria? Can you pull 2,000, spectators, 50,000 spectators? Because they want to, put their market, put their brands, out there. For some brands, that's what they look out for. They look out
so
for
I'm
the
not
market
going to.
value.
If a brand wants to say I should fill the stadium with 20,000, and then I'll be wasting my time to go to that brand, because that's not what they want to do. How many eyes, social medias, 1 million people are seeing our matches. And every 5-10 minutes we are talking to you about your plan. Those are the people I'm going to. Because guess what? Cricket is actually the one that has more viewership than even football, because of the 2.5 billion Asians and the Europeans.
Yeah, but
so
these are the external people. Some brands will want, okay, I want Nigerians, not foreigners.
Don't get me wrong. I want to go to those ones because of that. But if I'm going to get somebody who wants to pay me because they have regional reach, there are many people who have those connections, global reach, to give me $200,000 or $300,000 now to run an event, then I get 1 or 2 local partners to join. I will only do that if the people have identified with their vision. I need to understand your story. I need to do my research on what they really want. If I want somebody that wants 30,000 people in a crowd, then I will go and bring students, flog that place there, give them something, and you get that generation to do it. Because you want that your identity. But guess what? A female brand now, give me an example of any female brand that you think is ideal.
Well,
in terms of
I wouldn't want to mention names. But we have some brands that produce Weave-On, for example. Weave-On is peculiar to women. We have many of them that sponsor shows. Some of them even sponsor.
Yes, but
they pay billions for BBN, for Big Brother Niger.
Yes. So okay. By the way, in fact, you just alluded to my point. Why do they BB in Nigeria? Do they have 40,000 people going to a location to watch BB?
Well, viewership. But this viewership we are now talking about, Mr. Akpata, it's not really external, viewership, but internal viewership. Yeah, internally.
Internally, yeah. So there are over 150,000 people at every time that followed our online. We didn't even air it. That followed this National Sports Festival in what they call Creek Hills. So just imagine if you had said, oh, okay, we partnered with you to show it. People will show interest. Oh, this cricket game. Yeah. So that's where we are meeting broadcaster to show it. Then if I want to fill the place, I'll tell, okay, I want a major star to come at halftime, so then you flock the place. There are many ways. I know you are right. But again, I'm saying all of these because we know it's in the works. We're not there yet. But that's all about our commercial strategy, which is part of our 5 strategic imperatives. It's part of everything. We've got everything, but we do move one step. We emphasize on this year. This year we are focusing a lot on facilities. We are working with ICC to see how we can tap into the commercial partners. So DP World, Coca-Cola's, and some of the other people who sponsor global ICC tournament. We are trying to see Coca-Cola is sponsored. Why don't we partner locally here? So those are some of the things we are thinking about. By the way, what I was telling you, if I tell one of those people who are doing female soaps and all those kind of things, that we reach 150,000 young girls and women every year. Let's just be part of that program. That means some of these young girls who are 15 and 16 using your particular product are going to be tied with you the rest of it. Those are the kind of things I'm talking about, value proposition. We spent, by the way, I spent almost 40 years doing all of this. And as I said, me and some of our partners are bringing some of those best practice to bear.
Okay. So, we are round peg in round hole. I know that's about it. Given your pedigree with PwC, you really rose to the pinnacle of your career. So, I'm not surprised that all of these, are in the works. But tell me, how easy? Because 2019, after that historic outing in 2019, some of us thought, oh, cricket will start getting sponsors because that was massive. And now you've done it again in 2025 ICC Under 19 Women's T20 World Cup. How easy or difficult, has it been getting these people on board?
On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being easy and 10 being extremely difficult, I will not tell you. But it's baby steps and something that is sustainable and things like that. Because you still see people and say the right questions you've asked. But 1 or 2 come on board and everybody takes that step. I was thinking that after we came back from Malaysia, there will be a long queue of potential sponsors in front of my door. But unfortunately, that's not the case. But we will get there. India is a popular sport, but the IPL is where it is today, billions. The IPL and the kind of money generated is better than most of the football things that are happening, because that's just what has happened. Even football is not, the Nigerian Premier League is not in the right place when you compare to South Africa and other places.
Yes. That's why I did say the other time that even football is still struggling. Apart from the Super Eagles of Nigeria, so football somewhat is still struggling.
So totally, as I said, that's why everybody's a collective effort. That's why I said it on good authority that the Sports Commission, and to be fair, they've enhanced it and they've taken it a notch higher. But even from the previous minister and rest, I know there was a program of say high and commercial. But I think from what I'm hearing, the DG coincidentally is a son of the soil. I'm in here and I engage with him regularly. By the way, he came to see, he had a cold or something like that. I flew to Malaysia to encourage the girls. And the rest of it, that itself was inspiring to them and went on to beat Ireland. And that's because of that inspiration. But the point I'm making is that all partners are on board. And I think that if that happens, the partnership and what the Sports Commission is working out now, if it did happen, then would have gone a notch higher. Not just for cricket, but most other sports. So we are collectively looking at it in terms of what we are doing. But one of the things I'm also trying to look is engage the state governments wherever we go. Because it's not only federal now, people forget. So if I come now and I meet the state governments and say, okay, we are doing this here, do you know that potentially international tournaments can take place here? How do we run and do the field, the pitch together to be of such high standards? Because the time any international tournament is coming here, the whole economy, the whole activity and knowledge of what Ogun State has to offer will just increase a lot. And I'm not talking of just give me the money to blow it. Just help us with the facilities. So every state we go, we're doing that. Where there was the, by the way, as I said, we're attracting sponsors. Just last month or so, we got the NDDC, the Niger Delta Games. Cricket was introduced. They gave us some money to run exhibition and promised to help with facilities here and there, and even support a league structure there. So, are we where we want to go? Certainly not. But guess what? We're creating an environment where people continue to try. Do we have a cricketer that will earn billions like footballers? No, not yet. But by Nigerian standards, there are many of them who are doing well, extremely well.
So in all of this, what is the ICC doing for the NCF? In football, for example, we've seen FIFA, build, pitches, they are involved in the grassroots development of football because they know that without the talents, there's no football. And same thing, FIBA also does, for MBBF. So what is the ICC doing for NCF?
ICC's model is different, but we're trying to get them, by the way, to do that as part of way of special interventions.
What is the model?
The model is, at the end of the day, we see what you're doing, your potentials, we do an audit, we verify it and say, okay, we're going to allocate funds to you.
Okay.
These funds will be 15% will be for grassroots development, 15% will be high performance, 15% will be for facilities. So when you do that and they see signs that you performed it, then in the next cycle, they increase your grants. So we've managed to get a twofold increase in our grants because we've met through robust audit process, we've met those criteria and the rest of it. So you don't see, so what all the things I'm telling, I say we are doing 2 nets and rest here and there. ICC has provided its own bits. So ideally we should get our own matching grants for sponsorship. So when we get sponsorships and others trying to join them, we accelerate that process. ICC sponsorships can only give us maybe 6 every year. If we have more people going, we might make it 12 and then, so that's the model. But I'm also on the board of the Africa Cricket Association. And one of the things we've been discussing recently is do the FIFA and FIBA type investigation, because ICC also has an objective to be seen as a more global sport, not isolated sport, and sub-Saharan Africa provides the best opportunity there. So if we key into that vision jointly with them, then you see cricket sort of thriving more in sub-Saharan Africa. And guess what? Next time you won't be laughing at me when I say I want to be top 3 in Nigeria.
Okay, well, I wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Okay, quickly, our time is fast spent. In football, for example, you know, 90% of Nigerian football clubs are owned by the state government. So you cannot, if the state government pulls out, I don't know what becomes of football. So are you also looking at that in cricket, or you want another intervention entirely?
Who are the winners of, let me just remind me, please.
Yeah, Remo Stars.
Okay. Government, which government? Ogun State government owns Remo Stars?
No, but Ogun State government has Gator United.
Thank you.
Football
so what my very good,
Shooting Stars,
what my very good friend has done.
That's why I said 90%.
No, I agree. So what my very good friend has got, has set the template to encourage most others to do. So, like yesterday, I was with, I wear double hats. I'm chairman of Edo State Cricket Association, and one of my directors in the Sports Commission came in with these very nice jerseys of the sports of Edo Bendel Insurance. And I saw it, I said, please, I want to wear this Bendel Insurance jersey next time we are on our Arsenal platform. If there's a platform established with a joint venture with government, we can get individuals for that. So I agree with you, it's not sustainable because sometimes you see a government and it's not priority, then it will not happen. Yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
But as I said, Remo Stars' performance has encouraged some of us to go, whether it's football or other sports. And a lot, 90 is, by the way, it's actually the reverse. When it comes to cricket, 90% of what you're getting in terms of supporting the game is private individuals rather than government.
Okay, lovely. It's almost time up. But I don't know if I could just, drag you out of cricket a little bit. I mean, given your profile as a former, country senior partner at PwC at Nigeria, I mean, while some of us were in school, we always hope, Deloitte, KPMG, PwC, these were the top guys then, and many accounting students, would definitely want to work there. So I don't know if I could drag you, out a bit. And let's talk about the economy and round it off there. I don't want to talk about the economy at all. I'm just asking, we've been talking cricket, and I'm done with cricket.
As it relates to sports, if we can tie it back to the subject of the day, I'll give it a shot.
No, I wanted to talk about the debt profile. Just round off with that. Nigerian's debt profile. If you could just make sense of that. At some point we heard that, we are paying our debts. Then recently also heard that, Nigerian government will also borrow. I mean, Nigerians are worried. Is there a debt problem? In Nigeria?
I think I won't go deep into that because I don't know, but I'll just give things round that. For instance, I hear if we had to pay the debts relating to IMF as it relates to the COVID borrowing. Maybe the terms and conditions were that for you to get another new loan, you have had to settle those former obligations. So you do it and get what is the new. It's always about what are you using it for.
Yeah.
Then that's what I noticed there may have been an improvement. Remember there was about 4 years ago where we said we couldn't pay salaries because 90% of the money was gone for debt set. I believe those ratios are macro levels slightly better. But I think the real problem is the impact on the people in the streets. So that's where the real issue is. How do you align that? And that's the big challenge. I think government needs to be engaging more. At the macro level, things are decent. You now have a reasonably steady exchange rates. You've taken out, people are saying, okay, yes, subsidy is gone. We're not feeling it. And then, so it's a whole lot of things. For instance, you have to now manage things like security. The areas with food baskets, you're having security issues. How will the food come down? I mean, so it's a whole ecosystem of how those things should be done.
Yeah.
So that's, should you really, from a personal perspective, I would want to see more specifically how you can see, I mean, if I had direct things, what I'll be looking at, you have this debt, what's the payback in terms of real contribution to the economy going forward. These days with data, you can do all of those. I've not seen that being explained, and I will say it for free, as part of that process. I want to see it clearly so people say, okay, we are getting 1 billion. If we take this 1 billion, we're going to do these roads. The impact of this road is this, that you'll see in the next 5 years' time. Let's be transparent about all of this. That's what I'm doing in cricket. That's what we do in the wider group.
Yeah.
That's what I expect. But getting it itself, do we have a problem? I mean, if you had a problem, a bank will not give you money if they don't think you can pay. Forget whether you say, oh, you are overextended. They will call you back. They will call your debt. So I don't think we've reached, I mean, I don't have the immediate fact because again, you did it, but I want to bring that broader perspective of, because I think what I'm looking for. What I want to see is that when you take this, be equally transparent and say this is what we are going to do for, this is the benefits. Then in 2 or 3 years time, you come and tell people this is where we are in the process.
Yeah.
So because I'm an auditor, that's what I want to see, that's what I want to challenge. And then people will have more comfort and trust when we go for such things in future.
Yeah, Mr. Akpata, when you said reasonable exchange rates now, some would disagree and say, well, we see how it's at offering between 1.5, 1.6. Maybe Nigerians would be happier if we have it maybe at like 800 naira to $1.
It may happen
as it was.
It may happen. Guess what? Do you know Ghana? Ghana went to 20, almost 2015. Yeah. They've come back to 9. They've come back to 9. So it will happen. The thing is to stabilize them. They've come back to 9. So I want also, we may get there. But as I said, it's not, because the issue is that when you don't have reasonable stability to be able to plan, that is it. By the way, an NCS perspective, no one earns lower than the revised minimum wage, even our field officers. That was a priority for us because we needed to adjust at any point to what we call current realities. On a reasonable note, then you can't deal with the economy without dealing with security issues, if I'm to be blunt. And that's impact is dealing a huge blow with people on the street. So if I talk today and now say, oh, macroeconomy, things look to be okay, but I'm mindful of the fact that unless the real impact, real GDP is there, so government should really be addressing that, whether at the national or sub-national level. And it's not from giving pocket money or handouts. I don't believe in those things. Creating the right platforms. Transparency to me. I'm an auditor and I don't owe anything. We're collecting 14 billion. It's going to be for 1, 2, 3, 4. You gave it to IMF will not tell you anything about. You would have disclosed it. That same thing. Come and disclose it and say this is for future benefits. It will happen in year 1 is going to be this. Year 2 is going to be this. Year 3. These ones may not be financial rewards, but I would have grown job opportunities by so and so.
Okay.
Or our GDP would have gone by so and so amounts.
Okay. Thank you for bringing some stability to cricket in Nigeria, and that's
so you brought me back to my comfort zone.
Yeah, your comfort zone is the main zone. it's the main zone here. That's why I took permission to take you out of your zone.
It's important to bring it to light because
Yes.
I know, of course, half of your viewers, if not all of them, will be thinking about that as they look at this.
Yes.
And since I had a bit of history in that area, or currently, I mean, I still deal with those things.
Yeah, it's not a bit of history. So thank you so much, Mr. Uyi.
Thank you very much.
Akpata.
Pleasure. Thank you very much. I'm glad to what you're doing. So, and congrats on the last 14 days.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Thank you so much. It's ending. It's ended now. Yeah, we've talked a lot about cricket, Nigerian Cricket Federation, and cricket development in Nigeria. Perhaps you are still wondering what's all about cricket. Well, just go online and find out, and also find out the recent successes in cricket. And in a few years' time, just like Mr. Akpata said, that you'll be seeing a lot. Cricket is ready to take over and become one of the top 3 in Nigeria. That's a third dream, right? But it's definitely achievable, So that's the show today. Many thanks for watching. Till next week when I come your way with another eminent personality, I stay to you, stay safe, and stay out of trouble. Bye for now.